So for our final step, we're just going to add ink. I'm going to use Prismacolor pencil, I'm going to use Prismacolor ink pens and also a thicker artist pen, but you can use any type of black ink you want and you can use as much or as little as you want. Basically, the only reason you're doing that is to add even more depth to what we already have. So I always start with the eyes. Basically, you want to really get as close as you can in there. Use very, very little ink strokes because you don't want to mess that up. And you don't want to fully outline everything. You just kind of want to put it where you feel it will accentuate what you already have. I always kind of add a few more lashes because I love a good lash. And after that, I like to outline the face, not the entire face because I don't like to make it look like, too harsh of a drawing. But I like to go over a few of the lines and just kind of put some emphasis on where the ears would be and things like that. In the hair, you don't want it to get too streaky. So use those same kind of guidelines that we put in way back in lesson 1. And you're going to just go over a few of them. Don't worry about, outlining the whole thing. You just want to keep it loose. And in the end, if you should make a mistake in the hair and you want to fix it, just use white acrylic paint and touch it up. Like if I didn't like this line and I wanted to take it out, white acrylic paint in the end will probably save the day after you've worked too hard to start over. With clients, I usually show them the work before color and then after. And if there's something that I really need to fix that I didn't, that white acrylic paint will be really, really lovely. So I'm just going over a few details, basically to separate the shoulders from the hair and the sleeves and just the details that you want to stand out. I personally like to keep a really scratchy movement without too much thinking because I like it to feel really heavily illustrated. And I'm just going over some of those original lines that we put in the beginning, all the way down through her arms. And I'm going to leave that bracelet for a little bit later. Just very, very few. And the reason that I'm using such a thin pen for this is because you really can't, it doesn't look like it's screaming dark black ink lines. It really kind of has the same thin feel as a pencil. And I'm just going over the same lines now in the legs, bringing them right through. I also like to sometimes give a little bit of a suggestion of a ground line. But that's just me being kind of overly stylized. And then I will switch to a little bit of a thicker brush for any details that I want to stand out, like this ribbon at her collar. Kind of really want that to stand on its own and be an attention getter. So I'll use the black line there. Sometimes if I want to add in any color at the belt line, just kind of to exaggerate a few more places. Bracelets, because it's so hard to control with watercolor, I will sometimes just kind of redraw those in as well. Any accents on the bag. And then sometimes the bottom of her shoes. And then the very final touch, which you cannot forget, is your signature. I always put mine down here by the ankle, or I turn the paper and kind of make it full size. Right now I'm going to sign it way down here. And I make my signature really big because I don't want anybody to not know who did it. And then you can kind of look at it overall and see if you need to make any changes, but that is kind of what finalizes your illustration. And at this point, you will scan this in and send it to your client, and hopefully they will love it so much that they'll hire you again next week. So now that we've finished a complete illustration, I'd like to invite everybody to take part in an assignment. What I'd like you to do is start your own fashion illustration. She can be facing front and she can be wearing whatever you'd like, but basically please do those 3 steps. We want to go from pencil to watercolor to colored pencil and ink, and please sign it, and then you can scan it in and submit it on the Skillshare website. I'd like to go through everybody's assignments and see what you come up with. I'm really, really excited to see all of your work. After that assignment, we're even going to feature some favorites on my blog, dillydellis@blogspot.com, so we will be more than happy to include your websites or portfolios or blogs with our favorites. So good luck, and I'm really excited to see what you come up with.